New Thought Media Network proudly presents The High Vibe Hour. The High Vibe Hour with Reverend Cynthia and Reverend Skip. Fridays at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. Only on New Thought Media Network.
Let me take our picture down before we get rocking and rolling here. Oh my goodness. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the High Vibe Hour here at the New Thought Media Network. I'm Reverend Skip Jennings.
And I'm Reverend Cynthia Ambrose.
How are you?
I'm doing well. I feel super excited. It's my birthday.
You should be super excited today. It's your birthday. It's your birthday. It's your birthday. It's your birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. It's your birthday. I would sing the other song, but we might owe Stevie Wonder a little money if I sing too much of that.
That's true.
Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. You're the second person to serenade me today.
Over. What's happening? How do you feel? What's going on? Happy birthday. How you feeling?
I feel super excited. For me, it feels like it's the beginning of a new cycle that has to do with a lot of creativity, a lot of exploration, a lot of growth and transformation.
In what ways? Say more.
So far up until now, there has been a lot of trauma and then a cycle of healing from all of that. And it feels like it has completed. Like trauma is no longer my baseline. And so from here, I get to jump off into what else would I like to experience in life.
Oh, I love that. Have you always been excited about your birthday? Are you a birthday girl? Do you love birthdays?
I do. It's just the only thing that has changed is how I celebrate, right? So in the past, I enjoyed having large gatherings, right? Like going dancing or gathering with a lot of people. And this year, part of the birthday celebration was taking a retreat, going on by myself and then meeting up with people I didn't know for a spiritual retreat.
Okay, so before we get to that birthday retreat that you went on, do you remember the very first time you ever was really clear that it was your birthday? Do you remember your first birthday celebration?
I do. I was probably like 4 years old. And I remember the green dress that my mom bought me that I would twirl around in because it had like lace beneath it. And I remember that there was a lot of people that came over. And it was the first time that I remember like a large celebration. Right? For me. I was like, wow.
Birthday, it's your birthday. And I love the fact that you went away on a retreat. Let's hear about it. What was the retreat like?
So I went to Sedona. And so to me, I go home to Sedona. She feels very motherly to me.
Right.
Sedona was the beginning of my healing journey 23 years ago. So it's like going home on my birthday to honor her and thank her, right? For how she has continued to support me through life. So I go to connect with her and I go to fill up on her energy for this next year of life. So I went with a group that I had never traveled with before. The retreat was led by a company called Behind the Lid. They have a spiritual center in Costa Mesa. And she owns that little center there. And then he runs Awakened magazine. So is Mandy and David. So it was mostly people that go to their center for breath work. And then me who had never been to their center. And it was the first time that I was able to be authentically myself immediately in a group setting. There was no personalities that were difficult in any way. And everyone showed up like as themselves. So it was a very easy 4 days. They made it very easy to just like settle in.
Oh my God,
So
that's perfect. We're at the age in our life that things should be easy, right?
yes.
Don't want it to be. Oh my goodness, that is powerful. And I know you did a little ceremony, and what was your through the ceremony and the practice and the what did you bring away from that time in Sedona, and you're integrating into your life now? What was your big aha awakening for your birthday?
So, and this is perfect for the subject matter that we're going to be speaking to today. During the ceremony, I did MDMA and psilocybin, and MDMA is a heart opener. And I thought it was going to be like a lot of love, a lot of laughter. And it was not that way for me. So what I saw or what I experienced was the knowing that my mother had transitioned, but my mom's still here. But in the medicine, it was like she had transitioned. And you know how they say that when Jesus died on the cross, that the skies went dark and the earth shook?
Mm,
That's what I saw. So immediately it was like there was there was a tremendous soul that had just left this realm, and I was crying because I was saying to her, I just healed and I haven't had time to show you how much I love you. Please don't
mm.
please don't go. Give me time to love you.
That's very powerful. I had a similar experience with psilocybin, and I had never really made amends to my father, or that we had really made any kind of forgiveness. I held on resentments even to the point of I don't use this word often, but it's what I knew then. The word hate. And we know that hate and love is it's just a different polar experience, lower vibrational energy with my father. And I remember going into after we did Bufo ceremony, and then the psilocybin after that brought me into a place of healing. And my father came in. I saw my father in the ceremony. He too had made his transition, and I said,
Mhm.
"Why did you leave us? Why weren't you there?" And my father said, "I've always been with you. I've
Yes.
never left you. I've always been with you. You can never ever be separate from me." And I had a huge awakening
Mhm.
about life after life.
Yeah.
You
So for me, you know how Jesus had Judas, right, as like
know,
his demise, the person that facilitated his demise. But what I know now is that it was such a sacred role that he played, right? There was an agreement. So that was the awareness that I had. Like I got to see behind the scene with my mom.
yeah.
Um, like she has played that role for me. And so now my heart is so wide open that I cannot wait to go see her.
Mm, wow.
Mhm,
You know,
mhm.
it's very interesting. I love that's one of the reasons why I love Jesus Christ Superstar,
Yeah.
because in they really explore that role
Mhm.
of Judas
Yes.
for Jesus to have done what he needed to do, what he was called to do for the healing of this planet. It required a Judas, and I
Right.
believe that aspect for me was the first time not to demonize
Mhm.
Judas, but understand that there is a Judas within our life all the time that is the callous to a death.
Right. And it was that role of Judas was played by Carl Anderson, who was an
That's
agape
right.
member. Mhm.
Exactly. Exactly. Powerful, powerful, powerful. Well, sis, happy birthday.
Thank you so much.
Happy birthday. I'm glad we get to celebrate it here today with
Mhm.
you. And as you see, I'm at my mom's house and I'm here visiting my mom. I'll talk about that a little bit later, but I need to catch up with you because I haven't talked to you. Last week we had off, we did a replay of the Bali trip. I
Yeah.
hope y'all watched that. And if this is the first time tuning in, we do have a Bali trip that's coming up, two Bali trips that's coming up, and we had a replay on that. So watch the replay. Um, I went to Beyonce. I told you I
And
was going to Beyonce. It,
thank
it,
you.
it was the greatest concert I've ever seen in my life. It's my
Wow.
number one favorite concert, and I've seen Janet. I've seen, I've seen them all. I've seen Prince. I've
Mhm.
seen Earth, Wind, and Fire. I mean, that's, I love music. Music festivals is my thing. This woman, Queen Bee, performed 3 hours straight, dancing, full out, singing. I mean, I
Wow.
was like, okay, that was my first Beyonce concert. I went, now I get it. I'm
Wow.
like, Beyonce, take all my money. I will never ever miss another concert. I will never ever miss another concert because I'm just. And what I loved about that experience was being in an arena. We're in SoFi Arena
Mhm.
with thousands and thousands of people being inspired by this small group of people, Beyonce leading it, being the leader, being the general, and reaching this fever pitch of inspiration, of the vibration. You can feel it around you. You can feel it, you can hear it. I had goosebumps the whole time.
Mhm.
It was probably one of the most powerful experiences I've ever really experienced in the group setting. And went, oh, this is a ceremony. We're
Wow.
in the midst of a group, massive. I want to call it a. I'm going to say it felt like it was a rising of consciousness, of energy,
Vibration.
of vibration. It was we had our own resurrection is not the word I'm looking for. I'm looking for we elevated.
Wow.
It was such a powerful experience. I'm still flying on it, and it's 3 weeks later. In
Amazing.
fact, in fact, here's the thing: I'm flying in, coming into Philadelphia. I'm here. I was here going to come see my mother anyway for her birthday because she turns 92 on Monday.
Mhm.
So you're a Gemini. My mom was a
Mhm.
Gemini. I'm a Gemini Cancer. Geminis get together. Watch out. We just changed the planet, y'all. Watch out for the Geminis, and the Cancers will love you up. So my I was coming in for my mother's 92nd birthday, and I'm on the flight going, I know Beyonce's in New Jersey. I'm
Oh,
like,
wow.
hey, can I, because I'm renting a car, or maybe I could just get in the car and, mom's going to be fine, and I'll go see
Mhm.
Beyonce again. I was this close to doing it, y'all, this close. And then I went, okay, no, it's mom's time. I can't run off to go see Beyonce. It's mom's time. And I got here, and my brother didn't tell me what had happened the day before. My
Mhm.
mother had another fall. In fact, we
Okay.
think she fell twice. And so my mother's back in the hospital.
Oh, wow.
And she is now, yeah, she's back in the hospital she has a fractured pelvis. And so at 92, when she's turning 92, we're all very, very, very awake and aware of where she is in her age. We're
Mhm.
not claiming anything. In fact, we are praying family. So we were around the bed praying nonstop because we
Mhm.
know that prayer works. Prayer works. I got all my prayer warriors, all my California prayer warriors like yourself and
Mhm.
Dr. Sydney from North Hollywood Church of Religious Science, my place where I'm the assistant minister. We have a leadership team. They all began to pray. Reverend Jason Mitchell from Agape. Prayer works.
Mhm.
And it could have been. We were saying, thank you, Lord, for this opportunity for my mother to really rest, because my mother's one of the people, she doesn't like to be still, and
Not a
she
bad.
goes, work. Very now I see where I get it from. I don't
Mhm.
like to be still either. I get it from my mother. Um, but one of the things that she has to do now, she is forced to rest.
Yes.
When you're at that age and you have a fractured pelvis, you cannot, you can't move. She can't
Mm.
literally walk. One of the most healing things was twice I had to pick my mother up and take her to the bathroom, pick her up, take her back into her bed. And after the second time, I said to my brother, listen, this is not sustainable. Listen,
Mhm.
I might look strong, but I'm still turning 61 next month, too. My back
Mhm.
was saying, really? Come on now. But so finally she was like, we got to go take her to the hospital. And we did yesterday. And we were there for 6 hours, figuring out emergency room and found out what was going on. So I'm grateful that it's not even something even more serious.
Mhm.
I'm grateful to have I call it the spiritual posse
Mhm.
around me to pray. I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful for our teachings because we can dive into the truth. What we believe is that there is God within us that is perfect, whole, and complete. Therefore,
Mhm.
you begin to see the perfection of God within people that go beyond the sickness,
Mhm.
see beyond the diagnosis, beyond everything, and know the truth that she's whole and complete because she's in the Christ consciousness. She is in God, she's in the universe. So that's been my prayer, and the
Mhm.
prayer of peace and grace around what has been coming up for her. So, um, and that is a great segue of what we're talking about today. And I text you yesterday and said, listen, I just had this download. Can we please talk about death, dying, transition?
Mhm.
And making that transitional time in your life. Not that we're calling anything out. And I want to be very, very clear about this. I'm not saying that this is what's happening with my mother or anything. I believe this is just a conversation that we need to have.
I agree. I agree. It's not like we talk about it often. At no point has it been included, like necessarily in our education, like traditional education. And in fact, we tend to want to put the old people away in convalescent homes and not look at it, right? It's almost like they're separated from society, the older beings. Um, and it's a time for us to honor them, right? And to tap into their wisdom.
Yeah.
So thank you, Marianne, so much. Thank you.
And Julie said happy birthday as well. As much as we can, we're going to keep this light because we know this is a heavy kind of a subject here. And your mom 94, yes, in Mississippi. We acknowledge that. So happy birthday to her as well. So I mean, you bring up a really, really important, let's out the gate. Why do you feel that we do not talk about this part, this beautiful? I realize too, this is a beautiful part of life. This is a part of the beautiful, and I don't ever believe in life after death. I believe in life after life. Why
Correct.
do you think that we do not talk more about this, Rev?
I feel that because there isn't conversation around it, there isn't dialogue, there isn't time spent with the subject itself, that I believe that it's just the fear of the unknown, right?
Mm,
But if we spend time contemplating it, and if you live life very well, right? If you, like, for example, in the past, I've done a life review,
yeah.
um, right? That has allowed me to become aware of perhaps where I would like to make amends, not waiting until the end to do things like that, right?
Mm,
To offer forgiveness, whether I actually speak to a person or not, right? If I do some kind of ritual, some kind of ceremony, so that when it does come time to release this body, there aren't a whole lot of regrets, right? It'll be easier to transition into what is next. But I feel that that's part of what causes people to be afraid of it, is like the unfinished business.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. In my kind of, and I'm speaking from just my own personal and listening to other people and having clients who come to me because of fear of death and dying and transition.
Mhm.
Fear is a big thing, the fear of the unknown, because truth be told, even every avatar will tell you we don't know until we truly cross over. Now, some
Correct.
have crossed over and came back, and
Yes.
they are having some sense of an idea and really making sense of what are we going to believe, because I really truly believe that is the work. What do
Mhm.
we believe that will happen as we make this transition into another dimension? I choose to believe that we're moving into another dimension. our
Mhm.
our bodies are definitely going to, we're going to leave our bodies here because our body's not meant to live forever, but our spirit is eternal. It's
Correct.
eternal, and we get to move our spirit into another dimension, another doorway. That's what I choose to believe. That's what I choose to hold on to. But part of this work, too, I believe, Rev, you can speak to this as well. There's a lot of people that don't ever think about this until we get really close to the end or
Yeah.
whatever it is, what we believe the end is, or if there's something tragic that comes up. I believe that we need to have a conversation around this idea of transition, making it beautiful. Where we
Mhm.
are really obsessed about, Rev,
Mhm.
is staying and living forever. That's where
Right.
we're really America, I would say in America, we are obsessed by staying young, not dying, having our elixirs, making sure you drink all the right things, you get your energy juice on, and you da 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 da. But the truth is, we have to understand that it's not about prolonging life; it's about the life you're choosing to live now.
Right, the quality of the life that you're living, right? And live it so well that when it's time to release the body, you can say, "Look, I gave it all I had."
Hey,
Right?
at the end or the beginning, I'm gonna go at the beginning when we cross over. I want to arrive and go, ta-da!
Right? You want to high five those people that meet you on the other side, like, I did this.
Oh,
I did this
I did
good.
it. Ta-da! Ta-da! One of the things that, one of my very dear friends in Florida, her name is Jeannie Looper Smith, and she's a very incredible author. She has a new book out. She's here online. So look up Jeannie Looper Smith from Fort Lauderdale. And she does these incredible ceremonies called Death and Dessert, where we gather maybe 10, it's a very intimate group, and we discuss this incredible, I'm going to say life experience, because it's life after life of what our transition, so we can really have a real beautiful, honest conversation about what is going on. And I remember one of the assignments she gave us was we want to know, what would you have right at your transition? If you could have any food you wanted, who would be there? What's your favorite song that would be played, and where would it be? We created in that workshop, in that experience, our celebration of life ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm gonna throw this out to you. I'll say mine first. If I had one song in my last song, I wanted to be Sade, "No Ordinary Love." That's my favorite song. No Ordinary Love. I want Sade. What would be your song, Rev?
My Boogie Shoes by Casey and the Sunshine Band. My boogie. I love that song played.
I love that. That is so. I'm not gonna say anything, but if I'm there for yours, I'm gonna be dancing.
Yes.
I think it should be a celebration.
Right? An honoring of the life. I had an opportunity to do the same when we went through practitioner studies, and that
Mhm.
was 12 years ago. But we had to write our own eulogy and then facilitate our own celebration of life ceremony. So it gave me a chance to do like a life review at that moment in time.
Yeah.
Um, and then I love to catch people off guard. So people at Agape didn't know a whole lot about my background.
Right.
So when I shared a few stories, like my first motorcycle ride,
Mhm.
my friend was trying to get us a ride home after going to the club. So she said, "I found us a ride. These guys are going to take us home on their motorcycles." And so I just jumped on without ever seeing the guy's face. He had on a helmet. And when he took off, the police started chasing us through the streets of LA. And we were going like up
What?
and down. Yes. And I was a teenager. I was a teenager at the time. And the helicopter was flashing its light on us as it was chasing us through LA. And so when he stopped the motorcycle, he took off running, jumped over a fence, and I got scared and I hid underneath a car. I didn't know why. So the German Shepherd found me, right? The police dog found me, and then it like pulled me out. And then they took me to the hospital to like get examined, and my dad shows up and he's just looking at me like, and the police are asking me like, what did the guy look like? And I go, I have no idea. He never took off his helmet. I don't know who that was.
Oh my goodness! Wow, that is one big story that you must tell. Someone needs to tell it. Wow.
Right. So as I was doing my life review, I was like remembering these certain experiences that I'm like lucky to have survived.
Yeah. Yeah. There are there are indigenous cultures,
Yes.
and some people want to call it, I'm sidebar, some people want to call them third world nations. I like to call them the first world because they're ones that's still connected to the ways of the planet. So
Uh-huh.
we call them first world, and they have celebrations like that. They have
Wow.
deep, beautiful celebrations where they tell stories, they laugh. There are no tears.
Uh-huh.
In Africa, the tradition, here in America, we like to wear black mourning. The
Mhm.
tradition in Africa is wear white because this is a pure, this is a part of the purification of life. This
Mhm.
is this is a ceremony of birth, because
Mhm.
you go through the door, you're birthing into a new dimension. I
Mhm.
believe we need to study more and practice more of these ways of approaching this subject of transition, death, and dying. Listen, here's the one thing that I love. I love going to New Orleans.
Uh-huh.
In New Orleans, they got the sad music going to the graveyard. It's a slow, but the second line that comes back, it's a celebration because that soul's free
Yeah.
to fly.
Mhm.
So if we had more of these discussions like this and celebrations around life, life
Mhm.
after life, I believe we have a different relationship with the subject matter. What do you think?
I do. I agree with you. It's like I, you know, preparing our own eulogy or what we would like to have occur, right? At our celebration of life, to me is very, I don't know, cathartic, very healing.
Yeah.
Um, I recommend it for everyone. And it's funny because in that ceremony that I saw or that I knew that my mom had transitioned, after her transition came mine. I right in that ceremony, I didn't make it home.
Mm,
Something happened on the road. And then I saw Jesse's transition and I saw my brother's transition. Um, so I was driving home very carefully, right? But also like with this intention or clarity around about to turn 54. What do I want the rest of my life to be like?
yeah.
What do I want to do? I also love watching NDEs, um,
Mm,
and hearing the stories about, people having gone to the other side. And they say that when they do their life review,
okay.
that they experienced what they caused other people to feel, right? That it's very visceral for them. So if they cause somebody to feel uplifted, they feel that. If they cause somebody to feel sad or angry, they feel that. And then
Mm.
they come back with this awareness, right? So they're a lot more intentional with their lives. So I recommend for people to watch like the NDEs as a way to
Explain what that is so people can look it up if they don't know.
near death experiences. And there's a guy named Anthony Chen, Chen. That's all his channel does. And he's been doing it for at least 10 or 15 years. And he does such a beautiful job of interviewing these individuals and then providing like beautiful visuals to go with the descriptions that are being shared. So
And this
and
is on YouTube, the channel on YouTube, right?
yes, Anthony Chen.
Okay,
It's beautiful, beautiful
right.
work.
Well, y'all, we are having a real true talk here, which I love that we get to really be authentic. And we're talking about this idea of death, dying, making the transition, what happens on the other side. I believe that there are things that we can begin to do to prepare ourselves for what is, listen, nobody gets out of this alive. Or
Nobody.
if they do, they get into the next life of life, but there is a transition that's going to happen no matter what. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of a break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about how we can prepare ourselves what is inevitable and how we can shift our consciousness around what is happening. I believe that there are spiritual practices. I'm going to take us through a guided meditation today on that, on life after life and eternity and tapping into eternity. Rev Cynthia. It's her birthday. We're going to keep celebrating that. And you also stay tuned right here at the New Thought Media Network. This is the High Vibe Hour. Peace and blessings. We'll see you in a moment.
Are you passionate about media, storytelling, and making a difference? Welcome to New Thought Media Network, where your voice matters. We amplify diverse voices and share impactful stories. Join us in our mission. We are a nonprofit organization dedicated to creativity and community, looking for enthusiastic volunteers who want to be part of something bigger, learn, grow, and collaborate in various aspects of media production. Incredible support and camaraderie await you here. Your contributions will help us create powerful content that resonates with audiences and drives social change.
Ready to make a difference? Visit our website www.ntmedia.org to learn more about volunteer opportunities and how you can get involved.
Find our volunteer inquiry under the Engage tab on our website, or visit www.ntmedia.org/volunteer. We look forward to connecting with you soon.
New Thought Media Network proudly presents the High Vibe Hour. The High Vibe Hour with Reverend Cynthia and Reverend Skip. Fridays at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. Only on New Thought Media Network.
Hey, family, welcome back to the High Vibe Hour here at the New Thought Media Network. We're having a true talk, real conversation about death, dying, transition, what is happening, what's going to happen, and really approaching our fears and our doubts and our worries and moving and not staying there. I think that's the biggest thing, because we talk about the fear. Listen, I have addressed this many times. I've gone through many practices to help to move forward. In fact, I think you might remember this. I called you during the pandemic and I said, listen, I wanted to go through some ceremony. I want to do this because I have a fear of dying. And throughout the pandemic, I went through many ceremonies just to bring me back to a place of center, remember of what I know and what I truly believe. I would say the race consciousness around us during the pandemic was so much about death.
Yeah.
But no one was talking about life after life. We were just seeing death and dying and people being sick. We really never really talked about what would happen when we make our transition. And I believe this is part of our work as ministers, as practitioners, that we get to really have these honest conversations and prepare for what is inevitable.
You know, one of the things that's coming to mind is that there are certain things that the soul comes here to experience and to share, right? And Wayne Dyer put it this way, like, don't die with your music still in you.
Yeah.
So giving ourselves permission to explore what it is that my heart wants to experience or share, and then doing that, right? It's like, even like this podcast, when you invited me to do this with you, and I dropped into my heart, and it felt like something that my soul wanted to do and experience. Right?
Yeah.
So tapping in on a regular basis, I feel that would make it easier for us to release the body when the time comes, right?
Right. I I believe, one of the things that and I have a writing, and I don't have my book with me. My last book, Little Book for Big Transformations. I have a writing around life after life. And I remember that the sphere of death actually began when my nephew, Sean, who made his transition very early in life at 28, unexpectedly, this is a man who did everything right. He helped children, he taught basketball, he was a teacher, incredible musician, worked in the churches. He elevated the consciousness of this planet. He was the most happiest young man I've ever met. People just wanted to be around him because of his vibration, his energy. It's funny because we had a lot of the same kind of energy. People just like, oh my goodness, my mother used to always call me Sean and call Sean Skip. It was one of those things we always laughed about or whatever. And I remember that my fear of the death or whatever, this worry consciousness actually began during that time. And I started to really question why did it happen? Why? And I knew in my meditation, asking God, it would be revealed, because that's how God works. And I remember hearing, focus on eternal life. Focus on your true nature, because our true nature is spirit. It is God. That is who we are. This is just I call it the body temple. It's the home of the spirit, but this is not going to last forever. And part of the work in this writing, I write about, we must focus on our true nature of life itself, that it doesn't end. It is eternal. It is always expanding more of itself. There are other dimensions. We talk about this all the time. The scripture says that in my Father's house, there are many mansions. So we can take the metaphysical meaning of that is in my mother, father, universal mansion. There are many doorways. There are many dimensions. There are many places that we get to travel. If life's eternal, and we truly believe life is eternal, and we truly believe that we're one in God, then our life is eternal.
I love that. I have that image everywhere, the one that's behind me.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Right. So at the top is the soul, the higher self, and then it's pouring itself into a physical body. Right. So I love to have these images. I have it on my phone. I have it on my computer as the screen, as a reminder of my eternality. Right. That the top version is the truth of us. The body is the vehicle and the vessel in every incarnation. But even knowing this, it might be challenging, right, to sit with people as they are transitioning, because no one tells us what to do. And I can't emphasize this enough. Your mere presence, your mere love, because the way that I see it is we make a big deal when children are born, but for some reason we don't want to be there when they're exiting.
Yeah.
But those two are the same, right?
And we've had a conversation, and I want you to speak to our audience a little bit more about this, the practice of the death doula. And we have midwifery. We are so, bringing people in this earth and bringing people in this. And I think we were talking about this conversation. The death doula actually begins when you're at birth.
Yeah.
I mean, we're actually making our way to the next transition from the moment we come through our mothers.
Yes.
That's our journey back to where we began and where we begin again. There's a great song, I got to bring up Beyonce again, Make Your Way Home. She's talking about, in Renaissance, she's talking about, we come from stars, and I'm here just making my way back home to the stars. That is a belief that is our journey. Have you ever thought about becoming a death doula?
I thought about it, especially during practitioner studies.
Yeah, me too.
Because, like I said, so many people have like an adverse reaction, right? As somebody is going through the process of transitioning. And that's when we need someone there the most, right? Because we might be in fear. The person may be in fear. and our ability to be present and just hold their hand, let them know that it's okay, right? But I haven't always been able to do that. It's taken me a while.
Thank you, Jennifer, for that beautiful comment. Yes, we may release our physical body, however, we are still here in another form. Absolutely, I truly believe that. Okay, Liz, really?
Wow, I didn't know that,
I
Liz.
didn't know that, my sister, my sister. Liz, we're gonna have a side conversation. You know what? That is someone who holds that patience and love to
Mhm.
assure and to guide someone into the next phase of their living.
Yeah.
That's powerful. That is so powerful. Wow. That's
I
amazing. Thank you for your service. One of the things I like to do is, and I have clients who will come and sit in front of me either on Zoom or in the space, and
Mhm.
they'll say, I'm having this fear of dying. What can I do? What can I do? And I take them through a guided meditation. Would you mind if I take y'all through a guided meditation for this?
I would love that.
All right, let's do this. Unless you're driving, don't close your eyes. Do not close your eyes. But if you can, I invite you just to place your feet on the floor and take your right hand. This is a heart mudra, a grounding mudra. Take your heart onto your hands, or your right hand onto your heart, left hand onto your belly button. And these are the areas where you think about your heart is where you feel unconditional love. And we want to ground into unconditional love. But then our fear sometimes comes up through our tummy area. That is the it is the sacral chakra. And this is where we have our emotions and our feelings and our fears and our doubt and worries around intimacy and connecting. So we want to anchor into unconditional love and anchor our emotions and knowing they're connected. If you can't, go ahead and close your eyes. I just want you to take a breath. And as we breathe in, we breathe out, we give ourselves permission to recognize that we are anchored. We are anchored, we are supported, we are centered in the presence of the universe, the presence of God, the Christ consciousness, the Buddha mindset, the Krishna energy. Whatever we call it, it is the never ending presence of the divine, of God. And as we continue to breathe, I invite us to remember how we are so connected that we can never be separate. And our first movement into this connection is the realization and the remembering of our oneness with this divine presence. Now I invite you just to breathe and to remember the qualities of this presence that lives within us. It is eternal. It has no beginning. It has no ending. It is eternal. This God presence has always been here. It will always be. And we are one with this eternal presence. And now we continue to remember that this divine presence expands. It continues to expand. And as it expands through love, and it created us from itself. That we are this divine presence. Therefore, we continue to expand from ourselves into new ways of being. And as we continue to remember that We live in a multidimensional experience of the universe. That when we are freed from this physical form, our spiritual form continues to move forward into a new dimension, a new experience. We continue to remember as we make this transition that we are transitioning from love into more love, from peace into more peace, from joy into more joy, from divine to a greater experience of the divine. We remind ourselves that we are one with the cycle of life. No beginning, no ending, just transitions. So, with an affirmation, I invite you to repeat after me. I am safe. I am whole. I am complete. And I am free to transition into another experience of life. I am whole. I am complete. And I am free to transition into another experience of life. Take a breath. Big exhale. And slowly open up your eyes.
Mm. Gosh, that
And I,
was beautiful.
oh, and I invite us, if we're in the presence of someone who is making that journey, that we speak affirmative words in that space. And I'm sure, Liz, you do a lot of this, your affirmative prayer. We do this, that we see the beauty that is moving into another dimension. That's what we look at. Some of us want to focus in on the death part, the dying of the body. And yes, that is beautiful as well. But what we get to do is hold the space and see with our inner eyes and hear with our inner ears the truth of the spirit that's moving on to the next phase of their existence.
Recently, there's a woman named Kimberly Meredith that
Mhm.
I saw at Agape many years ago, and she's become very famous now. So I had a session with her. She's a healer and she's a channeler. And she said, there's a male that has been with you your whole life. She goes, it's your grandfather. And I had never met my grandfather on my mother's side. And so she said, he's one of your guides. And so I went outside and I sat in the patio after our session. And I said, Grandpa, if you're here, can you send me a sign? And
Mm.
and a hummingbird showed up like right in front of me. And I said, oh my gosh. So I feel that we can continue to speak with our loved ones, right? And include them in the work that we do and all that we do.
Yeah.
Ask them, right? Like, would you support me in this? Um,
I believe one of the most incredible practices is speaking to the ancestral realm.
mhm,
And that's what you have just described.
mhm,
And I believe another practice around the ancestral realm is getting out into nature,
mhm.
speaking to the trees, to the birds, like you just described. Our ancestors are all around us. Thank you, Jennifer, for that.
Mhm.
You're welcome. Marianne said that was amazing. You're so welcome. And Liz said that was amazing to practice my honor. Um, I believe, and this is very, very important, and this is all about the belief. So y'all listen, if this is ringing true to you, great. If there's parts of this conversation that's going, yeah, no, but I think the most important thing that we can really focus in on, what do we truly believe? And I believe use that word,
Mhm.
that we cannot, let me put this in this way. We have to make peace with what we truly believe about life after life. That's our work here now, is to make peace with that. Because there are many different beliefs around this, and no one has a monopoly. It's about your belief. So if you go to a Buddha consciousness or a Buddha belief, there's a whole different thing about this. If you go
Mhm.
to Hindu, it's a reincarnation. If you go to all these different experiences, everyone has a different take on this.
Right. Some people think, some people believe that there is a heaven and there is a hell. Some people think that we only get one life, right? That this is it. But Reverend Michael said something recently. He said, we want to go from believing to knowing.
That's
Right?
Reverend Michael at the Agape International Spiritual Center.
Mhm. So we want to go even beyond our beliefs. We want to go into knowing.
Yeah.
Um, so maybe meditating, right, and asking spirit to show you, right, to reveal to you, um, or if we
Yeah.
have ancestors on the other side, right, if we have friends that have transitioned, ask them, like, show me a sign that you're here with me, so that you can begin to see
Mm,
yourself. That
I
we,
that we are receiving signs all the time. Guardian angels, that term, even I even know Christians that use the guardian angel term.
Mhm,
I
mhm,
believe that is, I know, I've heard Buddhists say that. There,
mhm,
there, there are entities that are around us. I do angel card readings, and angels are always showing up, and it always says your ancestors are right around you. I've had many experiences. I knew that my grandmother, Big Mama, was
mhm,
right there. I felt her speaking to me.
mhm,
There's been times that I have, thinking about what should I do this certain thing or should I not do it? And then Sean would pop up. My nephew made his transition pop up in my in my mind. I'll go, okay, that's a message. Maybe I should be doing, or maybe that's a go forward. I think we're getting messages all the time. Hey,
yeah,
Rev, I wonder if, believe it or not, time is almost to an end. What's
yeah.
your vibe insight from this? Your high vibe insight from our conversation today?
From today, it's like, especially since it's a birthday, right? Um, I want to live full out. I want to push it to the absolute limits of what I can experience and create and the people I can meet and how much I can love. Like, I don't want to hold back at all.
Mm,
That's my insight. I don't.
mm.
How about you?
I would think very similar to this. You know, we all, some of us are very fortunate to know that we're called to do. Listen, there's only one Beyonce. She was called to be Beyonce for a reason.
Mhm,
Her dancing on stage, and yeah, one time I wanted to be that star, whatever, and that was not my calling. My
mhm,
calling is to be a minister, a new thought minister, science of mind minister. That is our beliefs. My calling was to help people to listen. My personal purpose statement is I am here to help people to see the light within themselves as I see the light within myself, so that we may shine together. We create that in ministerial school together. That was and I still hold on to that. That's my calling, and I want to know that I showed up and did what I'm supposed to do
mhm,
in the high vibrational way. Gay Hendricks' book, The Big Leap, that we're studying this month, talks about being in the genius zone. I
mhm.
am, I am, that's where I want to live, in the genius zone, that I did this unapologetically myself,
Yeah,
authentically.
there you
Um,
go.
I've been saying this on my Wednesday wake up, service. I love showing up as a Black queer minister that loves God, that
Yeah.
loves spirit, that believes in the Christ consciousness that is in everyone. I love showing up that way. There's not a lot of openly queer ministers that will come out and share this story of inclusivity.
Mhm.
That's my calling, and that's where I want to live to the fullest.
Mhm.
And when I get to the other side, I know I'm going to see Sean and see everyone say they're with me, so they're always with me. I'm going to show up, and like you said before, it's going to be, ta-da! Here I is. Well done, my good and faithful servant. The universe says that's what I'm looking forward to. So that's what I truly believe, and take that living out to the fullest, like you said. Hey, Rev, I know you got a trip that's coming up. Talk about the trip, girl. Talk about the trip.
Right. So this is part of me living full out. I've always wanted to lead spiritual retreats. It's what I've done for myself for 23 years. So now I'm taking people on a spiritual retreat. So we'll be going to Bali July 13th through the 24th. And if you are interested, you can go to cynthiaambries.org and then click on Bali retreat.
Absolutely powerful. And I know the payment plan system's over, but if someone says, I got some cash for you, are you still taking people in?
Absolutely. Yes.
It literally is. If you think about next week, the end of May, when we come
Mhm.
back around in June, we're going to be saying next month, Reverend Cynthia is going to Bali, y'all. How does that feel? You're going to Bali next month. I wish I was
Right?
coming with this. Oh my goodness.
Right? It's a dream come true, like a bucket list item for me, to
Yes.
be able to step into this role of being in service in this way.
Yeah, that's it. You're living your full life to the fullest. And if you can't go with Rev Cynthia, you can go with me. Mine is March 14th through the 27th. We're celebrating the sacred ceremony of the New Year, of the Hindu New Year. Actually, it's the Balinese New Year called Nipi. And it's a great celebration. The next day after the day of silence, and we're going into New Year, it's a huge celebration. So we're going to be doing wonderful things. That's in 2026. Rev, how did you spoke recently? How did it go at your church where you are the assistant minister?
Oh my goodness. I cried a lot. I had a healing on the spot. Right. There was an instant realization of the roles that my mom and my dad played, which were
Yeah,
like the Jewish roles, but
right.
how that facilitated me being who I am now.
Oh, that's
So
powerful. And they can catch you every Sunday. Well, not speaking every Sunday, but that's where you do. That's where you serve as assistant minister, right?
yes. And how about you? Where can they find you?
Yeah, I'm at North Hollywood Church of Religious Science, a center for oneness, spiritual living. And we are in North Hollywood. And if you go to nhcrs.org, click on I almost said the high vibe hour, but click on the Wednesday Wake Up with Rev Skip. And every Wednesday we do incredible out of the body. Sometimes it is out of the body, out of the box spirituality. We have chants. Jamie Lula comes in and sings. If you know who Jamie Lula is, y'all have to get in touch with this man. He's incredible New Thought musician. We do next week, this Wednesday coming up, we're doing a sound bowl healing. We're doing sound bowl healing, and at the end of every month, I do a healing with the sound bowls. We do a contemplative meditation. We really, truly wake up to our connection with the divine. And that is our full reason why we are here, to wake up. So you can catch me there. Hey, if this ministry, because this is a ministry, our New Thought Media Network, you can donate to support the movement of this ministry. Go to ntmedia.org/donate. And you can also donate directly to myself and I almost called you Dr. Cynthia, but I'm going to say Dr. Cynthia. Go to PayPal. You can give a donation directly there. What's your PayPal account?
It's my email address. It's cynthiaambriscounseling@gmail.com.
Bam. So that means you can get some counseling as well. You can donate to me. Mine is Skip at skipjennings.com. Go over to skipjennings.com. You can join my newsletter, find out what we're doing. Every week we give a great newsletter. And so get your inspiration on. Absolutely. I think that's all the announcements.
Oh my goodness. It's been wonderful to be able to have this conversation with you guys. Thank you for being here. And thank you, Liz. Thank you, Jennifer, Marianne, and Julie. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. And everyone who dropped in and those that will drop in later on. Absolutely. We're just so grateful, and share the love. Tell people that we're out here every Friday. We do this 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time here to New Thought Media Network. And to end off this program, I just want to say happy, 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 happy birthday. I hope you're going to do something fun tonight. What are you going to do for your birthday tonight? So
you're going to laugh, okay? So tonight I'm just going out to dinner. But tomorrow I'm going to an alien conference that's here in Vegas.
Alien conferences. I love it. I love it.
And Jesse says that on Sunday we're going to see someone, but he hasn't told me who. I'm hoping it's Bruno Mars or Janet Jackson.
Oh, is Bruno at the Sphere? Bruno's at the Sphere?
I think he's at MGM. I think that's where he is. So
that's amazing. Look at that. A wonderful, wonderful happy birthday. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here. Remember, transformation is a choice you chose today because you tuned in. Until next week, peace and blessings, y'all.
Are you passionate about media, storytelling, and making a difference? Welcome to New Thought Media Network, where your voice matters. We amplify diverse voices and share impactful stories. Join us in our mission. We are a nonprofit organization dedicated to creativity and community, looking for enthusiastic volunteers who want to be part of something bigger, learn, grow, and collaborate in various aspects of media production. Incredible support and camaraderie await you here. Your contributions will help us create powerful content that resonates with audiences and drives social change.
Ready to make a difference? Visit our website, www.ntmedia.org, to learn more about volunteer opportunities and how you can get involved.
Find our volunteer inquiry under the Engage tab on our website, or visit www.ntmedia.org/volunteer. We look forward to connecting with you soon.